In Principles of Social Reconstruction, Chapter 4, on property, Bertrand Russell writes that, and I quote, "The man who works for wages has no choice as to what he shall make. The whole creativeness of the process is concentrated in the employer who orders the work to be done. For this reason, the work becomes a merely external means to a certain end or result, the earning of wages. This is the chief defect of the present capitalistic system. Work done for wages seldom affords any outlet for the creative impulse." End of quote. Now, on most occasions, I've been working until 1 a.m. or later, then getting up at 4 a.m. to continue working this week. But my client still pointed out a lot of problems that needed to be reworked. But there is no space to escape. If I don't work harder, I would be laid off. At least that's what I imagine. I couldn't imagine if I lost this job, either I had a rich family to rely on or I had some indispensable skill. Now, there is massive layoff everywhere due to the economic downturn, and it would be extremely hard to find another job if I'm being dismissed. The most probable result of my life would be nothing. In Nairobi, bustling economic centers, a significant number of young individuals are employed in the gig economy, driven by the desire for a more promising future, characterized by secure employment and bill payment. Most of my experienced colleagues at the firm I work for, who worked diligently like me, underwent a transformation in their lives, originating as diligent students from rural or smaller town backgrounds, known as small twards. Now, they excelled academically, performing well in entrance exams and securing places in top universities. While they lacked broader perspectives on social networks, they nonetheless successfully transitioned into urban elites with competitive salaries, stock shares, and options from most valuable company in early years, becoming firmly established in first tier employment opportunities. However, this once cherished aspiration has been shattered due to the end of rapid growth and the possibility of significant salary advancements. The soaring property prices in Kenya, especially in big cities, make it impractical for most people to purchase, say, an apartment in such metropolis, diminishing the chances of achieving such exciting miracle. Returning to the smaller hometowns is a challenging prospect for these individuals as well, primarily due to limited internet related job opportunities outside major urban hubs. That is for people who are employed in the gig economy or freelancers. Furthermore, young individuals who often belong to the first generation of college graduates in their families face immense expectations of securing respectable employment and supporting their parents while also surpassing financial achievements of their parents as well. These young people are swashed down by hopelessness. Overtime pressures still grow under hopelessness. Staff in the gig sectors hustle, especially at big tech firms, face unpaid compulsory overtime, working on average 12 hours a day. The pervasive overtime culture in the gig economy is exemplified by the widespread adoption of the 996, what I call it, work hour system. And I imagine people are working 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week, sometimes all throughout the week. Now, sometimes you see remarks that hint to the idea that gigs like online writing, virtual assistants, web content publishing, content creation, and moderation, and such lines are doable for every other person. On the contrary, from experience of many people, these jobs are high stresses, demanding, and volatile due to instability and rapid changes. There are also concerns that these jobs are used as covert face covers for scammers and money launderers, and it's largely true to a great extent. there is a crop of flashy young people working online, in quotes, but without proper and clear job descriptions. They are said to be very liquid and meshed in the party life and often involved in faceless deals of millions of cash. Young college girls are attracted to them vis-a-vis young unsuspecting men think of such paths as chances and opportunities of securing the bag. As is now apparent, financial breakthrough is a dream and top priority for many young people, if not everyone. Despite the alarming occurrences and burnouts due to long working hours, which serve as a warning to society, I think as a species, we are going through a crisis of mental health tied to productivity. The common issue is of excessive overtime work that remains largely unchanged and largely mitigated by rest and mental well being. During my 22 fieldwork conducted in Nairobi and Nakuru and Machakos, I encountered a significant number of young people working in the gig economy with different positions and salaries who were all enduring excessive workloads, resulting in losing hope and an escalating level of pressure. The social and economic context of the post COVID downturn illustrate how this pressure was connected to the fear of unemployment, the burden of maintaining high objectives after rapid growth, and the drive to maximize human resources, resulting in a hollow pressure amidst prevailing hopelessness. And even for most people who have achieved success in the highly competitive job markets, after completing a master's degree, for example, at a prestigious university or just locally, in the hope of upward scaling and career growth, they still face tremendous obstacles. With a remarkable academic background and extensive internships, they excelled in multiple rounds of job interviews, some with triumph coming in the form of job offers from widely recognized firms. Now, these accomplishments are further highlighted by being offered what I call a special package, indicating exceptional qualifications and the provision of a higher salary and benefits in comparison to other graduates. This could include a mortgage, a car loan, um, per diem that are a bit higher than the rest of their colleagues. However, under the prestigious surface, young people have been grappling with immense pressure, ranging from performance pressure, long working hours, to future development pressure, particularly since 2022. In a shrinking economy, the relentless demands of long working hours, challenging targets, a disheartening work environment, and stagnant wages have gradually continued to loom at large, draining the energy significantly. Even for farms that were the ultimate destination for individuals, we all know them. I won't mention most of them here. Those who have arrived at this destination early are finding out that new jobs have become incredibly difficult and they face or feel the pressure of growing responsibilities, making the prospect of unpaid unemployment unaffordable. Young workers find themselves trapped in a cycle of working overtime, not driven by their own ambitions or passions, but rather out of fear of being laid off, fear of unemployment. The prevailing stressful atmosphere compels everyone to endure excessive workloads. Now, contrary to expectations, the post lockdown period and the subsidy policies did not bring about the anticipated economic resurgence. Instead, numerous rounds of widespread layoffs instilled fear in people, creating an atmosphere where job security became increasingly uncertain. And when the new government came into place, there was a lot of lifting of these subsidies and a lot of changes in the financial sector, one of them being the financial bill and reviews by the EPRA. And this has significantly changed the landscape of the standard of living and the cost of living. While White collar employees, for example, who work in prominent companies and government, frequently engage in both online and offline communication with their peers to exchange industry information. They are well aware of the deteriorating market conditions characterized by limited job opportunities, widespread layoffs, increasing and unbearable cost of living, prevalent salary reductions, and most importantly, flagrant violations of labor laws. We know what happens in Kenya and most African countries where labor and employment laws are hardly ever adhered to. Now, despite their dissatisfaction, they reluctantly and intimately commit to overwhelming workloads for fear of being dismissed. Office atmospheres feel most stifling, leaving most to quietly exit the still busy but silent workspaces without bidding farewell to their colleagues. This happens especially in the evening, between 4 and 5 p.m. Sorry, you can see the bustling people leaving their workplaces, some in very zombie mode, tired and beaten and weathered, and nobody bothers to lift their heads from their laptops, occasionally giving a fleeting glance. This is a description that was given by one of my colleagues. Now, through highly competitive graduate entry programs reserved for exceptionally talented graduates from prestigious universities and those with highly valued social network or net worth, these prestigious roles come with generous compensation and superior welfare benefits. This level of hard work is not driven by ambition. Instead, it stems from a collective sense of fear and insecurity, as if we are all frightened birds, constantly dreading the possibility of being dismissed. Reluctantly, we push ourselves to keep up with the pace set by others. In the past, we used to believe that a better life could be achieved by reaching certain milestones, with the expectation that our quality of life would improve. However, it becomes from one point or one pit to another now. Even if we reach the goals we had set for ourselves, there is no relief or guarantee that we will be relieved from the burden. Like, even if I had more work experience, the possibility of job hopping from a significantly higher salary remains tough. Even if I had to find a better job someday, I still have to worry about midlife unemployment. There is a lack of interest or ambition to create something meaningful. Our primary focus is simply to survive. For a lot of people, actually. Now, transitioning to a new job not only entails the difficulties posed by a shrinking job market, but also brings about overwhelming uncertainty. The same set of issues, such as excessive overtime, burdensome work arrangements, unqualified yet harsh supervisors, the looming threat of downsizing and layoffs, are pervasive across nearly all organization and employment setups. In smaller farms with few opportunities, the situation is even worse, as they often disregard labor laws while big companies may superficially comply with regulations to some extent. Small companies treat us as expendables with complete disregard because there is usually more sets of unemployed and qualified people looking for jobs. This sheds light on why most people feel unable to resist or change their circumstances. Now, in the era of growth faded away and the bubbles remained, working in prestigious and well-paid organization used to be a source of hope, offering opportunities to fulfill expectations for a better life. In the past, those expectations seemed to be within reach. The rapid expansion of the employment sector, particularly the digital gig economy, led to a significant increase in job seekers over the past few decades. The era of rapid growth comes to a standstill, and it is leaving behind a bubble of inflated expectations. In many companies or in many gig economy sectors, employee performance is evaluated through, let's say, objective and key results framework, what people call the OKR, with each team leader setting objectives that are reviewed on a monthly or quarterly basis. In the past, these objectives were more attainable, representing ambitious yet realistic figures based on industry development. However, the dynamics have shifted. Everyone, especially experienced team leaders, is aware that achieving high growth is now very difficult, yet they continue to set higher objectives that are challenging to realize. It's like gambling. These leaders also fear for their own survival as they must triumph in the increasingly fierce competition with other departments or teams. If they manage to achieve the high objective, it can be credited to their effective management and organizations, securing their positions and even leading to promotions. Conversely, if they fail, they can conveniently find someone within their team to blame and hold accountable. However, if they were to set lower and more practical objectives that are easily achievable, they would fail to demonstrate the value of their department or team compared to others. Now, in the quest to prove themselves, people have embarked on a kind of enterprise level grand leap forward. Faced with pressures of survival within the company or organizations, leaders set unrealistically high objectives and then pass on the burden to their team members or to the rest of the junior staff. These team members have no choice but to work harder, striving to meet the demanding goals in order to prove their worth and avoid being dismissed. It presents an opportunity for the leader to replace the fired individual with someone who is more compliant or favored, creating a more integrated team. Only those who maintain a good relationship with the leader seem to be available around the clock without any complaints can temporarily secure their position. Now, in striving to function as an effective component during the previous flourishing era, the industry has experienced rapid development by pursuing a strategy of expanding its market share through substantial investment in both human resources and financial resources, with little consideration for returns. However, as the period of fast growth came to an end, management shifted its focus towards enhancing human resource efficiency. In order to achieve this, two approaches have been very significant. One is extensive layoffs, and another, the utilization of external agency workers. I have seen this particularly in one organization I'm working in. I will not mention it. Uh, to make the best of human resources, many organizations have established numerous small teams consisting of a product manager, an operator, and only a handful of junior employees. Nonetheless, many young people are particularly becoming aware that regardless of their dedication and hard work, the most favorable outcome they can hope for is delayed dismissal, as there is a constant supply of younger, cheaper, healthier, and more compliant graduates or job seekers eagerly waiting to take the available opportunities. The labor market is already inundated with a substantial number of unsuccessful job seekers who completed their college education or have been moving from one job to another, transitioning amidst the challenges posed by the coronavirus pandemic. Employees within the organizations are consumed at an accelerated pace and discarded when the value diminishes, or to put it more professionally, when the human resource efficiency declines. Another approach to enhance human resource efficiency is the utilization of external staff provided by labor recruitment agencies. These agency workers are not consistent part of the firm's internal workforce, but rather viewed as services acquired from external sources. Managers acknowledge excessive workload, but there is no effort to address it. The demanding workload leads to burnout, especially. But this is very interesting because when I was talking to one of my colleagues, she said that during the precious days off, they prefer to spend time zombified in bed, drinking, occasionally going out, enjoying the company of their cats. Most seldom cook and instead opt for ordering takeout meals online. This is just a contrast, just to try and paint a picture. A feeling of hopelessness is a recurring theme in our conversations whenever I share with my students, or friends, or my peers. Some are currently enrolled in a self taught online program. They value the improved qualifications but acknowledge that they may not significantly enhance their prospects when searching for another job. Some contemplate pursuing a master's degree in the future but remain uncertain about the potential for a hopeful outcome. Some confess that there are very few people they can share their thoughts with in line with life, and for it is impossible to separate work and life. Work has become their entire lives. Some who used to possess a vibrant and optimistic personality have become more withdrawn and have started, detaching from the general community of friends and acquaintances in the pursuit of securing a higher paying and more challenging job. Some, like me, undertook multiple side gigs to accumulate the experience and abandoned their aspirations of applying for the coveted civil service. There are moments when I blame myself, thinking that I am stuck, reflecting on how the financial clock can be tormenting for a young man my age. The dusty stack of coursework books and unmarked exam scripts sitting in the corner of my house, the thousands of tabs, the background data software running in the background represents my only glimmer of hope. But sometimes I imagine that I break through somehow, just like many who are in life's incubator, hopeful of turning the tides around in their favor. I share my grace, hope, and optimism with all of you. Umundichuka, and this is proof of life for the prospects of employment, a promise of a breakthrough.